Good morning, kindergarten artists. Today we're going to start in on a new project. Here's an example of what it's going to look like when it's all finished. So you might remember that last week we were talking about lines, and in this project we were making all kinds of different lines that are bumpy, lines that are dotted, maybe wavy. And today we're going to be focused in on one particular type of line, which is the straight line. So a straight line moves in a straight path. So instead of being wavy or, curvy like this, or even in a spiral, a straight line moves in a straight path. Here is an example of what it looks like before color, so you can get an idea of where we're headed. Now, when we look at straight lines, what's really important is the three different directions that a line can move in. So a line can move from side to side, and that is called horizontal. A line can move up and down, which is called vertical. And then a line can move on an angle, and that's called diagonal. So let's get started making our artwork. You will need a piece of paper and some crayons. And what we're going to do first, thinking about our directions of line, is we're going to make a line that goes from side to side. So I'm going to hold the paper with one hand, place my crayon on the edge of the paper, and then I'm going to make a horizontal line, moving from one side of the paper, nice and straight, all the way to the other side. Make sure that your crayon meets the edges of your paper. Next, I'm going to grab a different color. This time I guess I'll use orange. Now I'm going to start at the top of my paper, and I'm going to go up and down or vertical, making a line from the top all the way to the bottom. Now I'm going to grab a new color. Now comes my diagonal lines, but before I do, I just want to point out what this artwork already looks like. You might notice that this looks almost like a T, or if I turn it this way, it looks like an X. I also like to think of it as maybe a window that you could open or look out of, or maybe it's even a present that you could have tied in a bow here that you could open. All right, moving on to our diagonal lines now, we're going to make a line from one corner to the other. Now sometimes it's a little tricky to get it from one side all the way through the center and then to the other. So I'm going to show you two different ways to do it. First, if you'd like to try, you can start from one corner and then go really slowly, nice and straight, all the way to the center and then to the other side. Now, if that was a little tricky for you, try this instead. I'm going to switch my color real quick. This time, to make my last diagonal line, I'm going to actually start in the center, and I'm going to go all the way to the corner. Now, I can finish that diagonal line off from starting in the center again and moving all the way up to the other corner. Now I've created my artwork out of all those straight lines, and when I did, I actually created a bunch of different shapes. In each of these spots, I've made a different triangle. Let's see how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I'm going to color in the triangles to make my artwork full of color. So I have 8 different triangles. I need to use 8 different colors. I'm going to start with, I guess, a pink today. And one of the things that I like to talk about is how we can carefully color. So one of my biggest rules is first, going slow. So slow yourself down, take your time, and also think about getting rid of all of the white. So I'm going to start right here on this triangle, and I'm just going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until I get rid of most of the white there, and my color looks nice and solid. I also like to color in all the same direction to make my colors look really smooth and solid. So I'm just going to keep on going until I get all the way to the edge of my paper. And I've got some lines underneath that's giving this really cool effect, actually, of texture there. Now, if you're working on a surface that you don't want to get dirty, what you can do is actually take another piece of paper and put it underneath so that when you color, you can go right off the edge and it won't matter because you're just getting it on the back of another piece of paper. All right, now my first color is all done and I can move on to my next one. So I'm going to choose a different color this time. I think I'll use this sparkly green right here. So now I'm going to go over to this triangle. I want to show you another technique for this time kind of staying within our shape or staying inside the lines. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of create an outline. So I'm going to make a line of green there. Then I'm going to make another line of green here. And then I can color between those lines and I can go a little bit quicker because I don't have to get so close to the edge. That way I know that I'll stay inside the lines. And again, when I get to that edge, in order to keep my space clean, I can slip that piece of scrap paper right underneath and then just continue to color. Whoops. And go right off the edge. Now I've done two and I can continue coloring each of my shapes in a different color. In the end, you will end up with an artwork that is full of beautiful colored triangles. All right, fantastic. Well, thank you for listening once again. And if you have any questions, please let me know. You can email me, hlanglis@aos94.org. And also, don't forget, take photos of your work and then send them to me, either posting to Seesaw or posting through email, sending them to me that way. Thanks so much, and we'll see you again next week for another art project. Have a great week.